guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today's video, I wanted to take you around and update you on most of the plants in my collection. Over the past couple of weeks, I have done a lot of unfilmed planting maintenance that I wanted to update you on. So I thought I would take this opportunity to also update you on every other plant in my collection. Let's get into it. But since we're already in my bedroom, I thought I would update you on the plants that I do keep in my bedroom. In the past, I did not keep plants in my bedroom after being infested with fungus gnats, but ever since I switched to Semihydro, I no longer have that problem, but I'm still a little bit traumatized, so I'm currently easing my way back into having plants in my room. So the first one I have on this little shelf is this little air plant inside of this little light bulb thing. And this is what it looks like. I literally need to water it. Should we water it right now? I have another one in the living room that I'm going to show you as well, but this is one of my air plants that I've had since the beginning of time, literally. I never water these, and I'm surprised they're still alive.
12 seconds later.
I got a little jar of water for him, but I also grabbed my other air plant that I have in the living room. They're so weird looking. I've had them for over 2 years though, so I literally can't throw them away. And how you water these is just by sticking them, submerging them in water. I don't know if you can see the air bubbles coming up. He's breathing. He's alive. And then I'm just plopping the other one in there with him. Oh, he's really breathing. Just like that. The next plant that I have in my room that I wanted to update you on, is this one elbow cutting? Pretty sure this was 2 plants, but look at how pretty this is. I mean, never mind the fact that there's no variegation. So when I originally had bought my elbow, it came with, I think, 3 leaves on it, and only 1 leaf was significantly variegated. Eventually, I chopped up the entire plant, so I now have this plant, and I think I have 2 other plants. Oh yes, I do. So I now have this plant, which is 2 plants in the pot, and I have 2 other plants, one in the greenhouse and one on my shelf in the living room that I will show you today as well. It's spreading out quite nicely, and I love plants that take up space because that means there's less decorating I have to do. But look at how pretty this is. And then I'll just show you this really quick because I just showed you this plant, but I do keep my Cebu Blue in my room as well, and she's always doing amazing. Those are literally all of the plants I have in my room because I'm still scared of bugs. If you guys really want to know why I'm terrified of bugs, especially in my room, just watch this. Yes, a bee attacked me. Like, heard it fighting its way through my blinds, and I sprung into action. And I really don't like bugs because 1, I don't want them to bite me. And the second reason I'm really scared of bugs is because I have to kill it. I don't want to have to kill a bug. Like, that's scary to me. It's me or the bug. Once I see a bug, the battle is on. And it's not going to be me, so the bug has to go down, and I really don't want to kill it, but anyways, I don't even think the camera can do this plant justice, but this is my Monstera deliciosa. I recently propagated this plant because it was way too bottom heavy and it was looking crazy. This whole situation is holding on for dear life. And it kind of stresses me out. This moss pole is gonna become weaker, the table's gonna become weaker, I might have to repot it soon, and it's just a lot. If you have a large Monstera deliciosa, you know. I already showed you my Calathea orbifolia. Oh my gosh. So I already showed you my Calathea orbifolia, but I just wanted to show you her again today because I recently, well, earlier today, I cut off 3 leaves because they were dying. Here's my lovely Calathea orbifolia. I wasn't too nervous when I saw those 3 leaves I had to cut off because 1 was dying for like a week and I just let it sit there and rot away. And I also wasn't worried because, let's see, there's a new leaf coming out right there. So there's new growth. Those 2 roots right there let me know she's extremely happy. The only thing I'm concerned with this plant is I'm scared I'm not gonna know when to repot it. She's been in here for quite some time now. Definitely nowhere close to needing to be repotted, but I can't wait till that time comes. This thing is so big. I wasn't kidding when I said that leaf was as big as my head. I think it was this leaf though. This leaf is huge. So pretty though. I love this plant. so much. The next plants are 2 Hoya obovata in my window. I showed you a few Hoya obovata in my last video, but these are ones that I haven't showed you probably in a while. This is one of my Hoya obovata right here, but it was very tight and compact, and then it grew this very long tendril and started putting out more leaves on the top. So that's very exciting. And then we have this little one right here. Sorry for the silhouettes, it's just the lighting, but she's doing fairly good too. I did peek in the pot the other day. She is putting out 2 new leaves. So before we move on to the shelf, I wanted to give you an update on my Monstera back there. What? Like, ma'am, when you get a Monstera deliciosa, you better know what you're signing up for. This plant right here, what am I gonna do? I live in an apartment. I'm gonna roll the clip from when we first potted this plant up. And this is what she's looking like. And this is what it looks like now, which is so insane. Like, how did it get this big? This is how big my largest Monstera was before it got that big. Nevertheless, I am super pumped that I grew something like this though, from just a couple cuttings. From just a couple 1-leaf cuttings at that, I think. I don't quite remember. Now we're gonna move on to the shelf because there's tons of plants on there that I wanna show you. Let's go. Really quick, I just wanted to show you one of my mammii that I potted up, I think a few videos ago. It seems to be taking to pon very well, which I'm very happy about. I did have to cut off a leaf today, but it is putting out a leaf right there. Ooh, sorry. It is putting out a leaf right there. And it looks like the small one is putting out a leaf down there as well. That's exciting because this plant was expensive. Here's another one of my albo propagations that I potted up weeks ago. Like I said, I did get one albo that came with 4 leaves and I chopped it up completely. This was the most variegated leaf that came with the plant. This is what sold me, guys, this. No fenestrations, nothing. I mean, it is very gorgeous, but the amount of money I paid for it. I had a lot of confidence in this propagation specifically because of this variegated leaf. It even put out this little leaf next with a little bit of variegation. I was like, oh my god, maybe I'm gonna start getting variegated leaves. But now it's putting out this one. Not a lick of white on there. So I've accepted the fact that Monstera albo are gonna do whatever they wanna do. I have no control and they're very unpredictable. So the next plant I wanted to update you on is the Hoya obovata that we trellised a few videos back. She is doing really good. However, if you remember, after we trellised her, I think we moved her to a self-watering pot, and I quickly noticed she wasn't getting enough water, so I went ahead and switched her back to a, what is this, ceramic? I don't know what this is. I think it's ceramic. But yeah, I switched her back to a pot with a reservoir, so I just fill it up to about here. And she's been doing a lot better, but all of her leaves were looking a little limp for like 2 weeks, so I had to get her back into a better suited home, and now she looks so pretty. Can you imagine if I would have left my Hoya obovata, the first one that I got, alone? Like, this is just one of them, and every other Hoya obovata that I show you comes from that one mother plant that I got so long ago. Even this one. Like, wow. But I guess now that I'm smarter with plants, like, I need to stop repotting them and stop propagating them. But that only leads me to buying more plants, which honestly, I just bought another, I guess, rare philodendron. It's not gonna be here for 2 weeks because I'm leaving next week for a whole week, which I'm nervous about because of my plants, but I can't wait to show you guys. I don't know if you guys remember when I potted up my neon pothos, but this is her now. I recently posted a picture of this plant on my story. This is all I have left from that big neon pothos that we propagated because a lot of the cuttings died, but I did end up potting up what I had left, and this is what I have been working with. She probably needs to be potted up soon because she's been in here for quite some time, but she is growing, so that's exciting because I've never had this plant before besides this one. Please don't start screaming. Literally, these guys scream outside every day. And it's like, shut the f*** up. Moving on, I told you guys I had to move some plants around, and what I meant by that is the Scindapsus that we moved from soil to Semihydro, I actually ended up having to take out of soil and put it into water because I saw that the roots were rotting and some leaves were yellowing, which is kind of normal, but I really didn't want to risk losing this plant because this is one of the hardest plants for me to keep. So I did switch it to water about a week ago, and she's been doing really good ever since, but who knows, because I don't even think that's long enough time to see how well it's gonna do in water. But if I can keep this plant in water, I definitely will. Look how cute she is. Oh, actually, I did pot up some of the propagations. I was in the middle of chopping up the entire plant, and then I ended up keeping this right here because I'm like, what if all the propagations die, you know? So I have these in water. I have this little one potted up into pond. It probably needs water because it doesn't need water. I told you I propagated my Monstera deliciosa, my big one over there, and this is a cutting that I took from it. I think there's 2 cuttings in here. I don't want to get the floor wet, but just know that there's 2 cuttings in here that have some pretty large leaves. I know I keep complaining about how big my Monstera is and like why would I propagate it, but I might give this away. Or I might keep it. I don't know. But along with propagating my Monstera deliciosa, I also propagated my green, Syngonium, if you can see them down there. I chopped the entire plant up because it just was not looking good. Things weren't looking good for its future. So I chopped it up in hopes to give him a better life. So I was watching one of my old videos a couple days ago because somebody commented on it and I needed to see what they were talking about. But I had potted up this plant and it was so small. It was literally like this big. And look at how tall it's gotten. And fenestrations, come on now. Cutest thing I've ever seen. So, onto a Scindapsus that is not dying, and it's actually putting out leaves all the time now, which is very shocking because this was one of my most slowest growing plants. I already showed you this Obovata last week, so here's a quick little glimpse of it. Look at how pretty and magical this looks. Okay, that's enough. Next plant I wanted to show you is this little Cebu blue pothos that I have. I usually use it as decor because of the pot that I made. I actually made this pot in a video. I'll link that for you as well. It was super easy and it's a great way to get rid of algae. I don't have that problem anymore with this plant because I put clay around it. But yeah, this is a Cebu blue that's growing beautifully. I know you guys remember, well, I don't know if you remember, but I remember the ugly mammy eye. I ended up chopping off a bunch of leaves that were yellow, and now I have this cute little leaf and these little leaves here. And there's one coming out, so I'm really happy about that because once you have a leaf coming out, you're good. I promise. If that leaf gets stuck and it looks like it's rotting, then I'm like, oh no, what's happening in there? I had to cut off a leaf there, but it's okay because it's still growing. I think I have about 3 or 4 philodendron mammiae or mame. I still haven't figured out how to say that. I'm really not too concerned about this one. I just watched Plantarina's video about philodendron and she said that they can go without water. So I've been giving my rare philodendron a lot less water lately and I think they're loving it. Another plant that I had to switch from pond to water is my Scindapsus pictus, and there's another name after that, I don't know. But yes, I had to switch her to water because she had some yellowing leaves. I really didn't want this plant to die, so I snatched it out of the pond. I don't know if it was too compact because this is a pretty large jar and it was filled with pond, and the roots aren't that big. But I am keeping her in water just to see what she does. Her leaf yellowed so far, so that's not good, but hopefully she sees some better days soon. Still so gorgeous. Literally just updated you on my fiddle leaf fig, but look at how much bigger the leaf got since I showed you. So pretty. But my favorite part is the back though. Literally the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. I know I say that about everything. I know you remember when I unboxed this new prop station, but it's finally filled up. I have some Monstera adansonii here. I've had this certain adansonii since the beginning of time, and when I say that, I'm referring to the beginning of my plant journey, which was the beginning of 2020. But I have propagated that plant probably 6 times, potted it up. It's been in soil, leca, pond, and now it's propagated again. because randomly I just saw a bunch of leaves yellowing. So I honestly just chopped the entire plant off and cleaned the leca and used it for another plant. But I do have these cute little propagations, no roots yet because I literally did that like 4 days ago. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated. And I have more Scindapsus cuttings that I'm propagating, which I told you about earlier. But these are what I was talking about. Hopefully these grow some roots. Let's pray. Because I really want to have a bunch of these. These are so beautiful. And this is the Scindapsus trivii Moonlight. Look at those dark leaves. Gorgeous. There's just some more Adansonii over here. And then I have this golden pothos that I've been propagating for a while. Hence the roots right there. Next is my Syngonium, guys. Look at this. I propagated this so long ago and I can't believe like how big it's getting. Oh, maybe I should wait for the ambulance to go by. Sounds like he just turned his horn off. But look at how big she's got. I really love this plant. I know it's so basic, but all of the leaves, like, they look different. Like look at this leaf compared to this leaf. They all look so different. So every time I have a new one unfurling, I'm always so excited to see what it's gonna look like. And the fact that it's getting this big, oh my god, I love it so much. I remember putting my philodendron Birkin in a plants I never talk about video, and now look at how cute it is. It keeps growing. I know it's not the best philodendron Birkin. It was my first philodendron Birkin. I actually bought this for like 25 bucks on Etsy, which is not a steal at all. I've had it for so long, I've definitely grown to love this plant so much. And look at how shiny the new leaves are. It doesn't get better than the Birkin. My Monstera Crimson Princess, she hasn't got any new leaves since I got her, which is a little bit concerning. I guess not really, since I ripped her out of soil and put her into a pond. She's probably just adjusting in there. Hopefully she doesn't have any pest on her, but no new leaves yet. And I also have another plant in my office of the Hoya Crimson that I'm going to show you as well. But this is what this one looks like. Very pretty. Not as much pink as the other one for sure. I put the rest of my Syngonium propagations in this little cup in here. Let's see if there's any progress. I also put a Mamii propagation in here. They're all gonna fall out. See, this is why I put these in here, because they're weird. Like, look at this. They're so weird and just, I don't know, wiggly. Ew, this Mamii propagation looks like it's rotting. I'll take care of this after. I did end up repotting my Starfish Sansevieria into 2 pots. These little pots right here. I felt like the pot that it was in was too big, even for both of the plants combined. So I put them, I'll show you the actual pot. This is actually little garlics that I get from Walmart. But this is the actual pot it's in. These probably need water. Oh no, it's a little damp in there still. I just thought that having them in a more compact setting would be a lot better and they would be a lot happier in here. These are my Pilea peperomoides cuttings that we took. I might actually throw away my actual mother plant that I just got because it just looks unwell, unhealthy, dying. So we might have to toss her today, but these are the cuttings. They look pretty good, not gonna lie. This is that pothos I didn't know the name of. We actually potted this plant up in my DIY pond video the second time I made DIY pond, and that plant was dying as soon as I potted it up. I had told you guys I didn't have much hope for it, and I didn't, and I was right. It did start dying. So I did propagate it and we got some roots. I had randomly propagated a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma and was not expecting this when I went to go check on the roots. But yeah, that could definitely be potted up soon. This is my Hoya Serpens. She's doing fairly well as well. This is definitely one of my favorite Hoya just because it's so low maintenance. I forget I even have this plant sometimes because it's so simple and I never have to water it. She can use some water now though. And then the last plant in here that I want to show you is my Monstera Adansonii. This thing has gotten long, like really long. I just potted it up into a self-watering pot with no insert. I just had some new growth come out recently that looks super healthy, so that's exciting. Just because I recently had to propagate my other Adansonii, I was really sad about that. So I'm happy that I have one that's actually doing well. Do you guys remember my wonky cactus? Look at this thing. It just keeps on getting longer and longer. But I haven't thrown him away, which I'm happy about. But I also haven't staked him up, which I should. I also still have my blueberry cactus as well. Don't know what his deal is, but he lives here. It's so weird, I can't see any blue when I'm looking at it, but when I put it to the camera, I can see a little hue of blue. That's so cool. This is the pilea that I transferred recently, and no. Honestly, when I was transferring the plant, I was looking at it and it really didn't look that healthy. I was questioning myself, like, April, why did you buy this? It doesn't even look like it's that healthy. I think it was only 12 bucks, so I didn't lose that much money, so that's not my concern, but I put a lot of effort into repotting this and getting the soil off the roots just for it to die. I don't think it's dying though because it has little growth. You see those two little leaves down there? Those are new. So maybe I should just prune off the bad leaves and just leave it alone. Another one that was dying, this little varicosum right here. It's currently putting out a new leaf that looks beautiful. Wow. But speaking of Philodendron varicosum, I honestly wish I would have left my newer one alone because I literally killed every propagation I took. Like how? This is all I have now. This is the new leaf that I just put out. It came out so big and so beautiful. That is a gorgeous leaf though. Hopefully we get another gorgeous leaf. It looks like that growth point is starting to thicken up. It was really, really skinny before, but we'll see and I'll keep you updated. This is another albo from the mother plant that I propagated. It looks like there's a lot more white on this cutting. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll post it when it unfurls, but that's what it's looking like right now. My Alocasia Jacqueline is now a one leafer, which I'm not concerned about because there is another leaf currently coming out. I can see it poking down there. The only thing I was concerned about with this plant is that this leaf came out a lot smaller than the last leaf. Ooh, it's still in the trash. This leaf right here, compared to this little tiny leaf, it's a major size difference, so that was a little concerning. Nevertheless, there is another leaf poking out, so we will keep our hopes high. Speaking of alocasias, my Alocasia Dragon Scale is now a one leafer since I repotted her into this self-watering pot, which is very devastating. But I also know that Alocasia take a long time to get established, so let's hope the roots are not rotting and she's just still establishing herself. That is a beautiful leaf though. Another Crimson Princess right here. No new growth yet. It's still so gorgeous and I love this plant. I need to hang it from a window though. And then last but not least, my Maranta. Look at how gorgeous she is. If you've been following me since I propagated this plant, I think I propagated it with 3 leaves, but wow. And it's so crazy because I remember I showed you guys the new growth point that started shooting up randomly, and all of those leaves are coming out a lot bigger. Like, look at these. These are the new leaves that are coming from the new stalk. Gorgeous. They even look better than these top leaves. Like, what? That does bring me to the end of today's video. Give me a thumbs up if you made it all the way to the end. Follow me on Instagram at Mother of Plants. Subscribe to my channel for more planty videos, and until my next video, bye guys.